home? I'm Jean Young for Cabot Tales and Trails, a page one story and music collection. For today's episode, we're interviewing Nathan Sams, who comes from the Howley area of Newfoundland and Labrador. We'll get into some of the history of Nathan and how he came around to becoming a page one administrative assistant. Nathan Sams, would you like to tell us how you got into writing?
I started when I was a teen. I kind of wanted to. I never really got into it. It wasn't until I started working for page one that I really started. And once I started, I never really stopped. I mean, even just like privately, I still write like different pieces, for example.
Well, you know, page one has a way of inspiring people. It's just one reason, of course, we exist. And the more we meet, the more people write. So you tell me that this was on your bucket list of things to try, so that's pretty interesting. Okay, so what kind of things have you been interested in, just generally?
Well, it was kind of more nerdy kind of things, I guess we'll say, for lack of a better word. I love history. Yes. That's something I really love. And space. Yes. Space is something I really like, mostly reading non-fiction things. That's always something I've always done, ever since I was a little kid.
So Nathan, of course, we're very happy to have you on our legacy project, Creating a Legacy. And you did a lot of research for us. You did some articles on us, and you certainly helped with editing. So that kind of developed your skills too, and probably fed your thirst for knowledge.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, I really enjoyed researching. That's kind of more my happy place, I think I'll describe it.
I understand exactly what you're saying. I often think that would have been my dream job. What struck you about that particular project? What do you remember the most about it?
The one thing I really loved learning about was the political history side of things. That's kind of something I'm interested in, a lot of political history. So
what struck you about political history? Anything in particular?
Nothing's changed.
Nothing's changed. It's so true, isn't it?
Yeah, nothing's changed. Even though everything has, nothing has changed.
No, and what do you mean by that?
Things might be in a different skin. They might look at different on the outside. When you look at the reasons why things happen.
Which are?
I think it goes down to a lot of people maybe don't know history, and so they're repeating it. Because history has a habit of repeating itself if you don't know what to look for.
Absolutely. So it's usually the things that drives people are money and power.
Money, power, and
same
greed.
Kind of things. It's Newfoundland, of course, has a very storied history. A lot more than people realize, I think. There's so many stories that we should tell. So then one of the things that you did during your last stint with page one was write your own book. Would you like to tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I was always awestruck by space, and that was something I wanted to really push into my book. It's something I love learning about. I love reading about space. There's a couple journals I like to read. There's a couple YouTube channels I like to watch that are space themed. So
the name of this book, for all of you, you're in iPad land or podcast land, it's called A Jokester's Guide to Science, and you'll find it on lulu.com.
Yep, you will.
So, A Jokester's Guide to Science. It's funny, and it's amusing, and it's informative. I invite anybody to take a look at it if they get a chance. Do you remember how you came to work with us in the first place?
That's actually a funny story. I remember Jean was gone on holiday to England, and Sue, who was working with us at the time, was looking through applicants on the government job bank. Now, I don't think I looked back on my account actually there the other night to see if I applied, and I actually never applied, so she must have seen like my name in a pool of applicants.
Okay.
Yeah, because I actually checked my accounts, and I actually didn't know.
Well, we did get your resume.
But you did get my resume after, because it's, yeah.
Yes.
And that was something I was really amused with.
So when Nathan came to us, we had no idea. I had never heard of him. However, some other of our members had gave him a good recommendation because they knew him as a child and was growing up, and they said, oh yes, he's a good guy. So that helped, of course, with your hiring.
Right.
Then he proved himself, of course, with our last project, and then when this opening came up, we were quite happy to hire him again. So again, anyone out there, if you want a good person to work with, ask Nathan. He'll probably cut this out, but I hope he doesn't. So you're interested in space and Carl Sagan. If you're going to write about something again, a new project, what do you think that you might want to write about?
I like to try fiction.
Okay.
That's something I'd like to try. I'm not sure what, but fiction is something that kind of appeals to me.
What kind of fiction?
I think fantasy.
Fantasy, yes.
Because I was writing a Dungeons and Dragons campaign for my friends, and that's something I've been having fun with.
I bet. I don't know much about that, but it seems people who are into it are quite intrigued for sure. Yes. Sometimes you just have to start writing and try out different kinds of things.
Oh, you do?
Sometimes it's hard to find that time, so when you get time, make it for sure.
Right. Now, I will say high fantasy is maybe a little bit connected, but also very disconnected from my Joker's Guide to Science.
It is, yes.
So it's something new.
Well, it's always nice to explore new objects and new pathways for sure. So, what do you think keeps people writing? Or if somebody is just starting and hasn't written before, what do you suggest?
Take a little bit of time every day to write. Because, I will say with my own Dungeons and Dragons campaign, I just did a couple words every day. It builds up. It's cumulative. If you do a little bit every day and you look back at it after a year, you'll realize that you've written a lot.
Probably forgotten half you've written. That's what I find. Yeah. So tell me a little bit of Dungeons and Dragons, because I don't have a clue about it.
It's something called a tabletop role-playing game.
Yes.
Basically, you're part of a party. One person in your group, you choose to be the dungeon master.
Okay. And
their role is to write a story for the party members to go on.
Okay.
And this is a really long game. It takes a long time to actually play. And basically, the dungeon master has a story that the members will go through. So usually it'll be something like a common theme would be for a party to go through a dungeon to get an item to defeat a boss. And that's usually kind of what.
So there's graphics and so on and everything else?
No.
No? Really?
No. Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Sounds like the stories I tell my grandchildren.
Yeah.
I tell them, I'm going to tell you a story that's never been told.
Right. And that's actually a really good start to a campaign. Yes.
So, because sometimes they just want me to make one up, right? I never remember them after I've told them. It's just for fun, right? And you talk about how you build your writing skills by doing it. It's kind of like financial planning, which is my real job. You start off young, and little by little you end up having a lot more money than you ever dreamed of.
Right.
Because of the power of compound interest. So you're talking about compound writing.
Right.
to mix it up, put it together. So, what would you like, if you could choose to do something in this world, what would it be?
I think someday I'd like to maybe write a whole series, I think, and follow that through. That'd be something I'd like to try. I don't know how I'd do it, but...
One page at a time.
Right.
What would the series... Well, you won't know till you start it.
Right.
And hopefully you don't know the ending, because then it would get boring.
Right.
Everybody writes in different ways, and everybody thinks in different ways, and that's the wonderful thing about sharing our thoughts and so on. I'd like for you to read a little bit from your Jokester's Guide.
Yeah, I was thinking about that, and I completely forgot the whole story.
Oh no.
But I was reading it back, and it was kind of like reading it again for the first time, so I think that was really fun. It was the first and only emperor of the U.S., Emperor Norton I.
He beat Trump.
He did. Yeah, he really did. Yeah, and he's a lot better than Trump, I can tell you that much. Now, this is going to be an excerpt from my book, A Jokester's Guide to Science. Emperor Joshua Abraham Norton I was a business person who was born in 1818. He was born in the town that would later become part of London, England. As a kid, he moved to the town that would later become Cape Town. And as an adult, he moved to San Francisco, California. During his escapades in the U.S., he had purchased rice after finding out about a famine that had struck in China. However, because rice was coming in from Peru that was of better quality and cheaper, he lost a lot of money. This led to him declaring bankruptcy. But in declaring bankruptcy, he had also declared himself Emperor of the United States. This would definitely require some explanation. He ran for Congress in the general election of 1858. However, he was not on the ballot. 10 days after the election, he went into office of the San Francisco Daily Evening Bulletin with a proclamation. He had asked the paper to publish his document, then quietly left. On a whim, the paper decided to post his proclamation in the paper. And so, Emperor Norton had declared himself the first Emperor of the United States of America. His first order of business was to ask all of the Congress and Senate to go into the San Francisco Music Hall, but they never showed up. The following years, he would write into the paper with more proclamations. He was very much ahead of his time. He had declared that the new empire would look very harshly on those who mistreat African Americans, Chinese people, and Native Americans. He supported women's suffrage. He also declared that Chinese Americans should be allowed to sit on jury. He had also declared that African Americans should be allowed to ride on the same buses and go to the same schools as white people.
This was in the 1800s.
This is like the mid-1800s. He also had the idea of a suspension bridge to go between San Francisco and Oakland, and a tunnel. He had also suggested an idea that was very similar to the United Nations. Some say that he had gone mad. Others might say he had gone wise, says the Emperor Norton Trust, formerly the Emperor Norton Bridge Association. I venture to agree. This man was very much ahead of his time. He was also an involved community member. Many restaurants had also accepted the empire's banknotes as payment. These banknotes were printed on standard banknote paper and bore the face of Emperor Norton. Now, it was rumored that Emperor Norton had 2 dogs. This is not exactly true. There were 2 stray dogs that were rumored to be under Norton's wing, Bummer and Lazarus. Much like other parts of Emperor Norton's life, these dogs were also the center of some legends. Bummer was a Newfoundland mix, while Lazarus's breed was multi-mix. Owing to their fame, as well as their association with San Francisco, they became associated with Emperor Norton. There is a very fanciful depiction of Emperor Norton presiding over the funeral of Lazarus as Pope. And in the book there is a cartoon of Emperor Norton overseeing the funeral of a local dog that liked to follow him around. He was the one on the far left, dressed in purple robes, drawn by Edward Wasp. In the 1870 census, he is listed as emperor. The census may list him as 50, but the Emperor Norton Trust found that he was born in 1818. However, in the year 1880, the United States Emperor had fallen. 10,000 had attended his funeral, efforts have been renewed as of late to at least name part of the San Francisco Golden Gate Bridge after the philosopher who came up with the idea. And then here in the book, there's a screenshot of a page from the United States Census for 1870.
Yes.
And it lists Emperor Norton, his occupation as being emperor.
So he was way ahead of his time.
He was way ahead of his time.
So he's kind of like that person who's declaring herself queen of the world, basically.
Yeah.
So the same kind of a, but he wasn't as nasty. He sounded like he was just having fun.
He kind of was, but he was also very serious about it too.
Yes.
Yeah, because the paper that first published his first proclamation became kind of like his national newspaper. Because they would publish his proclamations. He'd go in there pretty frequently to the newspaper.
Okay.
With different proclamations, and they publish them every night.
Wow.
Yeah.
I bet he had a good readership.
Yeah, he did. I mean, he did have 10,000 people attend his funeral.
That's pretty significant for the first emperor that Congress didn't, I guess Congress didn't recognize him.
Congress never recognized him.
Like you said, history repeats itself. It won't even go any further.
Right.
Okay. So that's very good. Well, tell me a little bit about growing up in Howley.
Well, I grew up on a farm. My grandparents owned a dairy farm in Howley. And
did they own a chicken farm too?
They owned a chicken farm too, yeah. That was actually my father's.
I remember that. Okay.
Yeah. I don't remember much because I was a little kid. I think one time, it was the only time I ever really seen the farm, I guess, kind of in action.
Okay.
The babysitter who normally would babysit me was unavailable for the evening. So I went to the dairy farm with my father for the night. Mm-hmm. And I do remember watching him milk the cows.
So did they have machines then, or was it by hand?
It was machines.
Okay, I figured it would be, yes.
Yeah, that farm is no longer active though.
No, it's too bad. It must have been fascinating, as a child.
Oh, it really was. Yeah, I was really fascinated by seeing all the cows and how fast everyone worked.
So they were quite calm. They expected it. They like being milked, don't they?
They do, yeah.
Because the milk is heavy in their udders, I guess you call it.
Right, yeah.
So then you moved to Cormac?
I did, yeah, and I lived on a mink fur farm.
Okay.
We called it Natali Ranch, and I was there for, I can't remember how many years. That must have been 2006. And we moved out in 2013.
Okay.
So that's 7 years that I grew up on the farm.
Did you have to help out with it or feed animals or?
No, I actually never, because I was too young, right?
Okay.
I was like maybe 5, 6. I do remember every spring when the new mink babies were born. I remember it was a little bit of a family tradition that we would go in and me and my sibling would hold the baby mink in our hands. And that was something I really loved. We also had a couple cats that lived on the farm as well that kept the mice away. I think their names was Blackie and Smokey. And they were 2 stray kittens that just showed up to the farm one day.
Okay. So you're going to go and continue to write. I'm happy to hear that.
Right.
It'll be intriguing for sure to figure out where you're going with it.
I think I might do an extension on the Jokes Just Got to Science.
And that would be a good idea because it's a short book.
It is a pretty short book, and I thought about it after. And it's 30 pages, which isn't a very long book.
But it's a start.
It is a start, yeah.
A lot of people have never ever had a book ever.
Right.
And never been published, so that's our goal, is to help make it happen. And by the way, I was really impressed with Nathan because he went and took on the challenge of making the book right from scratch. Designing it, formatting it, putting it together, getting it published. And that's something that a lot of people would be totally intimidated by. But Nathan, he just took the bull by the horns, so to speak, and ran with it. And I thought that was really impressive.
I will say that was something I was a little bit intimidated by first because it was the very first time I was doing it.
Absolutely.
But I think I am proud of the end product.
And you have a right to be. And also podcasts. You've never done podcasts, and you came up with the ideas. Okay, let's go do it. And I haven't done a thing about it except talk. But Nathan, again, I'm very proud of you for not being afraid of challenges. Page One has had a lot of temporary employees, and I always learn from each one of them. And I like celebrating their uniqueness because, again, and they always bring a different kind of energy into our space. And I think that's one of my favorite things. And somebody asked me once, because it actually costs me money because I've wanted space and mentorship and so on, and don't get paid for all those temporary jobs, for student jobs. The administrator is paid nothing. And they said, well, why do you do it? Well, I do it because I like seeing people grow. I like seeing new projects. I like seeing things happen. And for me, that's worth more than any paycheck. That's the reason I do it. I think that's the reason Page One exists, is to make small dreams become real. Whether it's for a younger person or the 80-year-old person who contributed to our last book, Page One Digest. He had never ever thought he'd see his book in print. And when he did, of course, it was something very, very special. So this was your interview, not mine.
I will say, though, that was something that I definitely agree with. I never thought I'd see a book in print.
No, so that's the magic of it, isn't it?
Oh, it is, yeah.
And the thing is, that's something that will remain even after we're not around. So if you do have enough copies, sell a few, give away a few, have them online, and all of a sudden they take on a life of their own, and you do not know where they'll end up. I've had stories about books that I've had done myself, and I'm amazed at where they ended up. So you don't know where that book will end up. And that's the incredible thing about it. Much better to have a book printed than have it hid away in your closet, for sure.
Oh, it is.
Or in your mind, and never ever allowed to emerge.
Or on some hard drive somewhere.
Or on hard, that of course the technology becomes outdated.
Mm.
Or the iCloud says, we own you now.
Right. Mm.
So the advantage, of course, having it in print is it's a tactile creation.
Right, and I think that's something that is very important to have physical media, I think. Especially in today's age where, like you said, a lot of online services now, like especially like even things like you watch a TV show. If the streaming service that you use decides that they don't want that TV show anymore, that TV show's gone. And it's gone forever. Like I know one example I was reading about the other day from one streaming service, and it was a movie. Right? People worked very hard on that movie. They decided to remove the movie. And now that movie is nowhere.
And they have the rights to it if they were signed away. That's another thing Page One did one year. They sponsored a movie. And so, so young people went and put together a movie. 8 Ball, they called it.
Oh, wow.
It was all set in Deerlick, of course, and it was kind of a cross between Trailer Boys and Tony Soprano.
Oh, wow. That sounds like a very interesting movie.
Again, we go back to allowing people to be creative. So make your dreams real.
Right, exactly.
Well, thank you, Nathan, so much for taking the time to both create this project, because without you it would not exist, and thank you for agreeing to interview. It's always more intimidating, strangely enough, to be interviewed yourself than to interview somebody else. Even though it's scary, the way that we grow is by taking on challenges and doing things that we don't really want to do sometimes.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. And signing in for Cabot Tales and Trails, Page One, Jean Young. Have a great day, everyone.
Goodbye.